Hello, my name is James Heidema. This is part 3 of the sales process. So in 2 previous videos, what we did is we looked at the first interview and I broke it into 2 parts. The first part was the introduction of your services, and the second part was using the tool, the gap analysis. So now we're going to part 3, which is the second appointment. And in the second appointment, what we're going to do, the first thing we're going to do is review the gap with the customer. And then what we're going to do as part 4 is we're going to make a recommendation to the customer to begin to solve the gap they've uncovered. Okay, so back to the role play. You're the customer, I'm the financial advisor, and I'm going to start the meeting like I start every meeting when I get back together in the second interview with the customer. So, thank you for coming in today, and thank you for continuing to plan your future. So what I'd like to do, as you remember, I told you what we're going to do in this meeting is we're going to first review the gap analysis to make sure that I've recorded the information correctly. I'm going to ask you again if you still see a gap. If you still see a gap, then we'll begin the process of looking at how we can address that gap, how we can solve some of the issues that come through the gap. Does that make sense to you? Great, thank you. All right, so on the left-hand side of the gap analysis, you'll see there's an area called the current situation. And these are notes I took. And what I need you to do is read through only the current situation and make sure that I recorded it correctly. If I've misstated or didn't remember to do something or whatever, please remind me and please review it. Okay, could you do that now, please? Okay, so everything's okay on that side? Great. All right. Now, under desired situation, I took some notes again. Could you please review that? Okay? So, and again, if I've missed something or misstated something, please let me know. Okay? All right, so that's correct. All right, you notice between the current situation and the desired situation, there's an area called the gap, which is the difference between where you are and where you'd like to be. Now, you, in the last meeting, you made some statements about what you thought the gap was. This time, I'd like you to read those things out loud so you hear it and I hear it, and just to make sure again that I've recorded it correctly. Okay, yes, that's correct. Yes, that's correct. Good. Okay. So you felt you had a need for life insurance and you wanted to build capital. Very good. Okay. Now, based on what we did in the last meeting and based on what you've just read, do you still see a gap? Okay, so you still see a gap. And how we recorded the gap, is that still the gap that you see? Okay, that's great. Okay, what's this 125 with a circle around it? What was that? Yes, that's what it is. That's the amount we're going to look at to begin to address your situation. Okay, I'm going to stop there in this video. So let's just talk about what happened, okay? So fundamentally, when people interact with one another and you say something, it comes out of your mouth, you own whatever that something is. I say something, whatever I say comes out of my mouth, and I own that. But you don't have to own what I say, and I don't have to own what you say. So it's really important when you're reviewing the gap analysis, you get the customer to talk it. This is really, really critical. And he or she may, in a quiet way, just review the current situation, review the desired situation, and that's okay. But what I really want them to say out loud is what they see the gap to be. I want them to say, I don't have enough life insurance. I don't have enough critical insurance. I'm not saving. I'm not investing. I don't have capital. Whatever it may be, I want them to say that out loud. And then after they've said it out loud, then I'm going to sort of say, okay, do you still feel that way? Do you still see the gap? Is this what you see? I want to reconfirm, because that's part of the purchase process. And, you know, whatever came out of their mouth when they're talking about their gap, they're beginning to own the problem. They're beginning to say, okay, yeah, this is real. I've heard myself say it. I believe it. Therefore, I want to do something about it, okay? And the wonderful thing, if you've done this correctly, and if you look back of the part 2 of the previous videos, you'll see that I really got them to sort of say, okay, based on your income, based on your family income, in this case of 2,000 euros, we take 5 to 7% of the amount. That's about 125 euros. And what we're going to use that as an example. And I said in the previous meeting, I said, you know, we're just going to use an example. I'm not going to hold you to it, but I'm going to show you what 125 euros can do. And then when they say to me, oh yeah, that 125 is what we're going to use as an example, they have bought the product at that moment. And if you behave correctly, they'll complete the sale. Okay? Now they know they have a gap. They verbalize the gap. They understand the amount of money it may take to begin to address the gap. They're now in the buying frame of mind. And so it's really, really critical that you take the next step where you place the product, place the solution that addresses the gap. So I'm going to stop here. And in the next video, we're going to talk about how do you actually place the product. All right? Hopefully you found value. All the best. Bye for now.